Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Velocity channel, where this is your bridge to financial freedom. Today, we're going to go ahead and we're going to decimate this $39,000 loan, and it doesn't matter what you call it. We want it gone and as quickly as possible. Not in 6 years, not in 5 years, but way less than that. Before we show you how we do that, like, share, and subscribe so that everyone around the world can know the power of Velocity Banking. Now look, if you need help with this, go ahead and schedule a call with me. Folks, we got the system up and running now so that you can schedule a call with me. We can show you how we get people out of debt just like you, way less time, okay? Not 30-year mortgages. We're talking about getting them out in as little as 3 years, could be all the way up to 10 years, all depends. I want you to be on that train, all right? So let's go ahead and make sure we get an overview of what's going on here and share with you the secret as to how to get out of this debt as soon as possible. First of all, I want to share with you a tidbit of information that I think will save your life and will save your finances, and that is, don't forget about the 4 I's, okay? The 4 I's. CJ, what is the 4 I's? Well, number one, it's going to be investment fees. Oh man, make sure you get rid of that. We're talking about cash flow optimization. The next I is going to be interest. And that's what we're about to get rid of right now, okay? The next I is going to be insurance. Make sure you are not wasting your time on some of these insurances that, man, you could probably go ahead and increase that deductible or whatever it is that you need to do to make sure that cash flow is coming right into it. And the 4th I, well, we're going to have to get back to that, all right? Now, look, $39,000 at 15%, $824 each and every month. Now, you and I know what? That $824 is not going to the principal. Where's it going? Well, CJ, it's getting split up. It sure is. It's getting split up. And this is how it's getting split up, okay? $337 and $487. Mind you, this is the first month, okay? Now, can anyone take a guess as to where that $337 is going? Okay, it's less than $487. That's your hint. That's right. That $337 is going to the principal. It's going to be represented with a P because it's going to the principal, okay? While the larger amount is actually going to the bank, but we're going to go ahead and represent that with an I for interest, okay? Now, you and I both know that this has to change in order for us to get out of that loan, that cash flow sucking loan, as quick as possible. So how are we going to do that? We've got to place more towards the principal than what they're telling us. So let's go ahead and let's just say we want to place an extra on top of that $337. Well, we're going to go ahead and place an extra $500 on to that so that it now becomes $837. So let's just go ahead and do that. All right. $500 is what we're dealing with here. That is what is going to be making sure that this principal is going down. Because guess what? When the principal goes down, what else goes down? That's right. The interest goes down. So listen to what we have here. We have a scenario in which one person is doing traditional banking. That's the one that's sucking your cash flow, right? And sucking that interest straight to the bank month after month after month. And the other person is doing velocity banking. That's where we are taking control of our loans, making sure that we're placing that extra amount, not towards the interest. We're placing the extra amount to the principal so that that 15% here is actually chewing on less and less of the principal. And less of the principal means what? Less and less to the banks. Let's go ahead and look at that. We have $337 going towards the bank $487, $337 going towards principal, and that $487 going to the bank. However, to be fair, that's just the first month. So what are we going to do 6 months from now? What is it going to look like? Well, we're still paying less to our principal than we are to the bank, all right? So we have the $359 going to the principal, okay? Now, it is more than the first month, okay? So we're thankful for that, but it's not enough. 6 months later, we're still paying the bank even more. But I want to get even closer than that. Do you see the difference between 487 and 465? Can you do that math in your head? That's $22, right? The spread is $22. Now, I want you to notice something here. How that $22 went from this side to this side. Because guess what the spread is here? $22. But do you see how this went down $22? And the amount we're paying toward principal went up $22? That's because a transfer has taken place. Okay? We'll just call it transfer. And that transfer is making sure that the money that we are spending, which is $824 each and every month, gets split up appropriately. Now, amortization, it doesn't matter what you're doing to that principal, you're going to have the same monthly payment. This principal can be $10,000. Guess what your monthly payment is going to be? $824 each and every month. That's why they call it amortization, right? Because mort means death and it's killing your pocketbook. And so we want to jump out of this to see if we can have a more efficient, more effective way of paying our loans off. So that's why we jump to velocity banking. Over here on velocity banking, you'll notice something. You'll notice how that there's a bigger jump in 6 months than there is right here. Notice that from the jump on the first month, we've paid $500 extra on top of that principal. So of course it's going to be $837 and $487. But that $837 is going towards the principal, and of course the $487 is going towards interest. But what happens just 6 months later? You see, we started out by paying way more to the principal than we did to the interest. Do we get rewarded for it? Well, look at the difference between the principal and the interest in 6 months, okay? Let's look at it. $487 the first month going to the bank. That's away from you. Remember, the bank has designed these loans to go one way, right? And that is away from you. So that's why we like utilizing lines of credit, because at least you'll actually be building up your own line of credit and you have more control over it. But I digress, all right? $487 the first month, and then we're paying $434 in the 6th month. Now, do you see the difference between those? $53 difference. That's more than 22, isn't it? And remember, there's a transfer that goes on, isn't it? $53 difference. So this $53 from the first month, it went down $53. And over here from the first month, this, remember it's going to the principal, this went up $53. And that's what we want. When the bank decides to divvy up your money like this, we must be smarter than them and use the same algorithms that they are using to oppress us We use those same algorithms to set us free. And so instead of having the $837 and $487 and just leaving it at that, notice your $500 is way more than $500. Did you know that? That's right. Because the more you are chipping away at the principal, the more you're chipping away at the interest. That interest is actually getting transferred to you. So it's almost like you're getting rewarded for using your money correctly, right? Isn't that awesome? Kind of like when the line of credit or the credit card company says, you know what? You've got an extra $10,000. You're going to get a line of credit increase or a credit card limit increase because you've been a good steward. You've never seen that in a savings account. You've never seen that in a checking account. Have you? Any other account except the credit card, except those lines of credit. So please keep that in mind. You might as well get rewarded for spending the same amount of money. And so here we have it. You're going to be in 6 months, $890 towards the principal and $434 towards the bank. That means it's not going to principal. Now, you may say, well, CJ, this one, I'm out in 6 years. But how long am I going to take to get out of this one? Velocity banking is supposed to be faster, right? That's what velocity means, right? Accelerated. Well, you're getting out of this one in about 3 years. Okay? Not 6 years. But the most powerful thing about this is that you're not only going to get out of it in 3 years, not 6, but you're going to capture what? You're going to capture the $824. And I don't know about you, but I would love $824 extra dollars because you have the money, right? You have the money to spend. $824, but instead of going to another entity, it's going towards you instead. Do you remember when I told you about the 4 I's, right? How that I said it's the investment fees, it's the interest, it's the insurance. You remember that? Well, I want to share with you the 4th I. So full transparency, I actually forgot, so had to splice that in here. Internal Revenue Service. Man, we can't forget those guys, right? And seems like they're going to be going away soon, but please don't forget that, all right? IRS. So what I want you to do is this. I want you to picture yourself $824 extra in cash flow. So whatever you have right now, maybe it's $200, maybe it's negative $100, maybe it's negative $200 in cash flow, right? If you were to pay like this, right? If you were to grab a line of credit and kind of maneuver, engineer your line of credit into a way where you can continue to pay this at least for the 3 years. If you were negative $200 in monthly hemorrhage, right, of cash flow, that would actually be positive $600 if you got the $824 at the end of 3 years. Now, is there a faster way to pay this off? Of course there is. There's the line of credit. You can use your unsecured line of credit, and of course you can use a secured as well. But you can use your unsecured line of credit of maybe $5,000, $10,000 to hammer away at this loan. Because remember, all the interest does, okay, is feed off of the principal. Okay, that's all it does. So the bigger the principal, the bigger the interest. But the smaller the principal, the smaller the interest. And so I just want you to keep in mind with that. Folks, if you have any questions, don't hesitate. Give me a call. We'll go ahead and talk about it. We'll give you a debt elimination plan as well. And actually, if you qualify, You'll also be invited to our special webinar. We don't invite just everyone to those webinars, just those that are serious about getting rid of their debt. All right, folks, thank you so much for tuning in. God bless you, and we will see you in another video.